Hey, what's going on? This is James. Just wanted to start this video out by declaring Jesus Christ is King, telling you happy Resurrection Sunday. And if you don't know the Lord, now is a good time to seek Him with everything crazy going on. I can't imagine going through what I'm going through right now without leaning on Him. So just wanted to start that video out because He is everything to me and He is the reason why I do anything in this world. And He's the one that uh, gave me the okay to do these videos. So I guess I wanted to start with what everybody is probably well aware of, all these wonderful celebrities telling us to stay home. And it feels good, right? Hearing Kevin Bacon tell you, stay home, Footloose. Who doesn't love Footloose, right? Um, and it's across the board. I mean, it's every celebrity you can think of: Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, President Barack Obama, Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, or Lady Gagme. Um, And it's just a concerted effort across the board of, hey, don't be selfish, stay home. And like I said, it feels good. It feels good, like celebrities coming together and singing and just all the stuff. And several years ago, I would have bought into it because I was just unaware of everything in the agenda of what these celebrities are doing. This isn't the focus of it, but this is of my video, but this is just a little tidbit of what's going on. And anytime you see any group of people concertedly coming out, there's an agenda. They're trying to do something, and you'd say, yeah, they're trying to get you to stay home. Well, I'm questioning, why are they getting me to stay home? Because as time goes by, things are starting to get more and more weird. They're not adding up, right? Um, so let's go to CBS airing a video from the ER in Italian hospital while Cuomo makes an emotional appeal for ventilators in New York City. So essentially, there was a video of Italy, and they were showing, this is way back when it first started, all the stuff going on in the ER. And just last week, CBS aired the same footage of the Italian ER, claiming it was New York City, right? And so they had to retract it. Somebody caught it, and they said, well, we made an error in editing. I said, okay. CBS doesn't lie, so they must be telling the truth. Uh, you know, and like I said, at the same time, Governor Cuomo was complaining about ventilators not having enough and saying, just equating with, people, who's going to choose who dies that doesn't get this ventilator, right? Serious business. But it turned out that he did have the ventilators. They were stored aside, and when he was confronted with it, he came up with some kind of an excuse, like, "Oh yeah, well, we're going to dole them out as we need fit," but it completely glossing over the fact that he was just blaming President Trump for not having the ventilators, right? And so it just is just one more instance of people playing the virus up and making it seem worse than it is. And don't get me wrong, like, if people are dying, I do believe the virus is real, but it's killing people that are 80 years old plus. The average age in Italy was, I think, 95 that died. And it's either people with underlying physical conditions from before or elderly. And it's because their immune systems are low, and they're old, and they're susceptible, and they're not taking zinc. And like, there's a lot of aspects behind it. And that's just one more instance of somebody getting caught in the shuffle, claiming something that's not true. And if you go back to here, even this has been going on since last year, even before, this Knob Creek shootout. ABC passed it off as Turkey's military bombing of the Kurd civilians, and they had to make a correction in it, right? Because they did it. They had Editing error, right? They didn't know. I don't know. I don't know how you do this one, but this is just dishonesty. They made it darker. So you couldn't see all the people filming, because this is something that goes on every year, Knob Creek, and it was just deception, right? Um, Fine. That's fine. It's just a couple instances. Well, the media got caught red-handed again using a dummy doll at Elmhurst ICU, selling simulation to general public as COVID-19 crisis. And look, you can even see the little little hole where the dummy. I mean, you can tell it's a dummy, right? Um, and so again, a narrative is trying to be pushed, and it just makes me question why. The more that we see of this, how do you not question the story, the official story, right? Um, Especially with what's going on. Fake news. CBS again airs footage of Italy hospital report about overwhelmed Pennsylvania hospital. And I bet you at first you were saying, well, wait a minute, you just talked about that. No, this is again. This is several days later. The same footage was pushed off as Pennsylvania hospitals, right? And so you question, how can they mistakenly edit this video into two different instances? I don't know. I just, really makes me question a lot of things that are going on here as I see these stories coming out. It makes it hard to really know what's going on, right? And I think that's by design. Uh, um, there's something going on called hashtag Film Your Hospital. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I would recommend people check it out. Go to YouTube. Jason Jones is a good person that started it in Hawaii. And people have been literally like Elmhurst, where they showed lined up people outside, and somebody went down within an hour and there was nobody there. And this is going on across the board in hospitals all over the United States. And I'm not saying that there aren't places where there are people, but these are places on the news, like in Hawaii, declaring, hey, that we can't keep up, man. There's people in here. We're running out of ventilators. There's people dying. Then people show up within an hour and there's not one person there. And again, makes you wonder what's going on, right? And everybody knows this lady, right? This nurse is just in tears. She just did. They don't have the mask. They're not letting us wear them. I even brought one from home, she said. They wouldn't let me wear it, right? And turns out she was lying too. And she had to retract it. She literally had just started. That was her first day back. She was saying she'd been there for weeks. And none of it happened. None of it was true. And again, as this serious issue is going on, we're seeing lies. And it's kind of pissing me off because several weeks ago, I didn't know what to think. I was just like everybody else and afraid of my own shadow, basically. And as this thing goes on more and more, I'm just finding that it's just not what they're telling us. Now we can debate what it is, but I just say, why are people believing people that have been lying to us for years, blatantly lying in our face, right? But now they're telling us the truth. Okay, so our COVID-19 deaths being overreported. I don't know. You tell me. So this is the guidance that the CDC gives them. It says in case where a definitive or definite diagnosis of COVID-19 cannot be made, but is suspected or likely, circumstances are compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on a death certificate as probable or presumed, the agency advises. In these instances, certifiers should use their best clinical judgment in determining if a COVID-19 infection was likely. That clinical judgment alarmingly does not require administering a test to confirm the presence of the virus, which is odd, right? Like, wouldn't you want to know definitively, okay, they had the virus so we can have the correct numbers? It says, ideally, testing for COVID-19 should be conducted, but is acceptable to report on a death certificate without this confirmation if the circumstances are compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty. All right. So what is that certainty? CDC tells hospitals to list COVID as a cause of death, even if you're just assuming or it only contributed. Okay. So what that means basically is, you got somebody that's been on death's door for 3 years, and is barely alive anyway, comes in and dies of symptoms of the flu or whatever, COVID, and say, well, must be COVID-19. And I just say that that's dangerous because the CDC is 24,000 dead from the flu so far this season. So people are dying of the flu already, right? And symptoms are the same. People are coming in, they're coughing, they're sick, whatever, they die, they have underlying conditions, but they just assume it's the CV-19. People are dying left and right. You know, didn't you see the nurse? You know, she's running out of masks, and we got to believe everything they say. And as things go on, you wonder what the end goal is. And I think this is it right here. And this is the narrative that's starting to get pushed by Fauci and everybody that's in that circle. And they're going to create a vaccine, right? Are they even saying they already have the vaccine? You know, they've just miraculously done something that's takes 18 months to so now they're doing trials on this vaccine. And I just don't trust a vaccine on a coronavirus when science tells us that it mutates so fast that it couldn't. There's a reason why there's never been a coronavirus vaccine before that's worked or that they've administered. And I would suggest people don't take it, but that's just my personal thoughts on that. So Event 201 is a scenario that was ran in December of 2000 or October of 2019. All right. And it was an event about a pandemic of the novel coronavirus. And it was great timing, right? It's right before everything going on. Anybody that knows anything about the way this type of stuff happens with these type of drills happening right before, right as something is happening, you have to question this. So if you want to look into Event 201, if you haven't heard of it, look into it. It might open your eyes to possibly thinking something weird is going on here, you know? So we look at the end result of all of this going on and what is the reasons behind it besides the vaccine, and what is the ramifications of what's happening. And we're seeing it start here. California County threatens $1,000 fine for not wearing a mask in public. All right. That's San Bernardino. So you're going to wear this face mask in public, or you're going to have $1,000 fine or spend, I think it's 364 days in jail. It's just, that's no big deal, right? You didn't wear a mask, you're going to go to jail for a year. Well, which incidentally, and I don't think I have this in here, but they're letting criminals out in California, New York. They're releasing prisoners out of prison, not jail, prison. And some of them are not the nicest people. They said in the beginning, oh, they're going to be fine. They're not going to be they're going to be non-violent offenders, but I've seen some stories of murderers and rapists getting let out. So they got to make room for the people that aren't wearing their masks. And it's now just started in Laredo, Texas. And it's not constitutional. And the biggest thing is, the president came out and he said right when he announced, okay, we recommend you do it, but it's voluntary. So from the highest office in the land, he's telling us you don't have to wear the mask. But the cities are saying, okay, we're going to enforce, we're going to throw you in jail if you don't wear this mask. All in the vein of what the celebrities are telling us. You're selfish. Don't wear this mask, you're selfish. We're going to shame you into to doing this, all right? And if you didn't have all this weirdness going on, all these fake stories, all this this propaganda, I might agree with you, but as I'm seeing them fake stuff left and right, and you're telling me I have to wear a mask, and not only that, but you're telling me this, right? Okay, so for those keeping score at home, this is what we were told: masks don't work. Masks only work for healthcare workers. Stop buying masks. Masks might be a good idea. Everyone should wear a mask. $1,000 fine for not wearing a mask / go to jail, or and that's all in a 10-day period. So no wonder why the people don't know what the heck is going on. Everything changes every 5 minutes, and if you're paying attention, you're watching the bar get pushed further and further and further down the road to us having all of our rights taken away. And I don't know. There's a lot of talk about people saying, well, we're in the kingdom of God and we are in, we need to pay attention to the laws, which is right. But if I see something like this going on, like at what point do people have the right to stand up and say, no, this something weird is happening and we need to put a stop. We need to find out what's happening now, because if I have somebody in my life, a known liar, that's lying to me day in, day out, I mean, how long is it going to be till I stop listening to what they say, especially if they're telling me what I should be doing or dictating to what I should be doing? Stay home, save a life, social distancing, flatten the curve, bro. So yeah, you can do it. You don't have to do it, and I agree with that. I don't have to do it. CDC recommends using protective masks. Failure to wear one could result in $1,000 fine. So, yeah, just another reiteration of where it's coming from. All right, so now we run into some disturbing news and just weirdness, to be honest. And some of it's weird because, like, even this story, it sounds like on the surface, you look at it under all the, everything going on without the weird lying. You say, okay, city imposes one-way sidewalk rules to enforce social distancing. All right. It can sound logical, right? You're going to get $100 fine if you're caught walking in the wrong direction. And I just see slippery slope. I see one step after another. And I believe they're seeing what we'll put up with and what we'll do about it or not do about it. And as we don't say anything about anything and we just go with the flow, we just see more and more stuff being taken away, like our right to walk down the sidewalk in one direction or the other. Coronavirus response, Safeway. Thank you, Safeway, for keeping me safe. Implementing a one-way shopping aisle at the Bay Area stores. So, like, it's already bad enough for, I don't know. I hate going to the store anymore. I was joking with a customer today. Actually, this is one of my running jokes. I always look for some kind of a way to brighten people's day. But, I tell them I look forward to going back to normal. And I said, although part of me will miss my bi-weekly scavenger hunt at the grocery store. And it's getting depressing, to be honest. Going to the store is getting to be sad because everybody's, the social distancing is just a sad state of affair. Everybody's afraid of everybody. There's, people yelling at you to get back. You need to stand on that spot. The lines, they're creating lines outside doors, all in the, no, we can't let this many people in there. Walmart's blocking aisles. You can't be roaming around. We can't have you loitering or spending time in here. It's all in the vein of safety, right? Safety. Colorado man handcuffed for playing t-ball with the daughter in the empty park. And that's, I live in Colorado, and that's what's kind of disturbing about this one is they've basically told us we can go out, we can exercise, we can spend time with our family, whatever, but we need to make sure we're social distanced from people and being wise about it, right? But apparently the police didn't think that this was a viable thing to be playing t-ball with your kid in the park. And anybody that has kids, especially small kids, knows that this time especially is very difficult. Like, what do? Your kids, you got to get out and do something with your kids. And I challenge you to tell me how this is dangerous to anybody. It's funny. I was just listening to a podcast, and one of the people was talking about how her mom had gone to a store in Texas, and upon getting in there, they were yelling at her and her mom and her little brother to get 6 feet apart, and made them get 6 feet apart. And I thought, how ridiculous is that? They're going to leave together and go home. So what are you doing except conditioning people to do what you're told? And that's what this is, and this is an overstep of power. And it's just getting out of control. Vermont orders Walmart, Target to stop selling non-essential items in the store. And this is very disturbing to me, just on a business standpoint. And why is it up to Vermont to tell a business you can't sell a DVD player, you can't sell seeds, whatever they are, whatever it is? It's an overstepping boundary from the government. And Walmart is also doing it in states that aren't recommending it or telling them to do it. And that's, like I said, it's disturbing to me, because what business is going to limit what they're selling, especially now? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe Walmart's making too much money because they're one of the few people that are allowed to stay open. Isn't that convenient? So yeah, they're limiting non-essential items in the store, and in a lot of places they're deeming seeds to grow food as non-essential, even to the extent that they've not only blocked those aisles, but they've removed them and put them in the back. And if you, I don't have that story in front of me, but look it up, you'll find it. It's out there, several places actually. And that again is disturbing. As disturbing to me as gun stores being shut down while criminals are being let out. LA Mayor, this is my favorite, man. Come on, Mayor, give us some Gestapo like orders here. Snitches get rewards, he says. He said snitches get stitches, back in the old day. But we want you to keep people safe, and give us a call. Let us know what's happening. Snitch on your neighbors, and not only that, we'll reward you, he says. So yeah, how could that go wrong? WHO officials, we may have to enter homes and remove your family members. This was one of the most disturbing things that I've read recently. And essentially said that now that the virus is getting pushed back into the family units, we may need to come into your home for the safety of the family and the kids and remove them until you're better. And what could go wrong with that, right? And you say, okay, that's the WHO official, but no, it's not just the WHO official. That's actually was in the New Jersey, a New Jersey document from the family Department of Home and Family, or whatever, family care, whatever New Jersey's version of it is, essentially outlines the same thing. Uh, and that's disturbing as well. And look that up. I know it was Call for Uprising did a video on it. I don't have it up here for some reason. Thought I did, but he did a video up which was really good. And if you haven't seen his channel, check it out. It's amazing. But Call for Uprising that goes over that New Jersey order or guideline, and just suggests that maybe you fill out a form dictating to who you're going to send it to. So, you can have in the case of incapacitation, or being sick, and then they say that the city will come in and do it for you if you don't. And I just think they're setting precedents, and it's just sketchy. Oh, this one. All right. Being a Christian, being a lover of Jesus, being that today is Easter, Resurrection Sunday. This is sketchy, right? Democrat Kentucky governor announces plan to record license plates of Easter churchgoers and force them to self-quarantine for 14 days. And what does he say about it? He says something about it being selfish, I think, and that you're putting people at risk because, everybody could have it. That's what the beauty of this thing is. You could be asymptomatic. You might not even show symptoms, but you're still contagious, man. And so you go to church today. Yeah. In Kentucky, get ready for a quarantine of 14 days. They said they will send the government or the people in the health department. They're going to send local health department people to your house to self-quarantine you. That's not sketchy at all. And again, a lot of these things outside of all the weirdness of lies and propaganda, you could say, okay, just got to be safe. It's got to be safe, man. Well, that's just appalling to me. All right, so this is where we start to see things change a little bit. And I've seen it in some of the gun stories as well. And the NRA now is pushing back on that. And so states are having to retract closing their gun stores because constitutionally, they were even saying in the beginning, well, we can't do the background checks. We don't have the people to do the background checks, or we might not have. That was the story that started first coming out. And that was the fear of background checks to begin with. Because as people are saying, oh, you shouldn't get a gun right now because you're going to have an accident. I think now is the time to have a gun, as I'm seeing all this weirdness and craziness and food shortages and people panicked. It might be good to be able to defend yourself, right? But anyways, good. This is where things are changing a little bit. UK police force threatens to search shopping baskets to catch lockdown violators. And what they said was they were going to go through your history and start looking and maybe even searching people's bags and seeing whether you're buying essentials or not. And that's not legal. But they're forced to backtrack after public backlash, right? So now they're coming out and whoa, I even saw one UK person, cop had to apologize because they were had harassed somebody for being out in their own front garden. They don't want you outside. You need to stay home, stay safe, flatten the curve. Oh God, I want to flatten the curve so bad. That's a different story. But anyway, so they're forced to backtrack after public backlash. That's great, right? Demonstrators swarm state capitol to protest forced business closures. Protesters interrupted the governor's coronavirus press briefing. And I think this needs to happen more places, because something is not right with this whole situation. Unconstitutional steps are being taken, and anybody that knows history knows that governments don't like to give you back their power that they've grabbed. And some of these things are so abusive across the board. I'm surprised more people aren't standing up and saying, wait a minute, show me the proof, of everything, because again, so much weirdness around it makes things a little weird. So, and this is praise is what I do. This is one of my favorite songs. So basically just praise Jesus. That's all I got to say on this. This abuse of power and overstepping of local governments, state governments, CDC, all in the vein of safety, is going to end us up with no safety, no rights, and people coming in your house to take your kid away because you're sick, or who knows what, So anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that. I'll end it with Jesus as I started it, because I do believe he's everything. And if you don't know him, now's a good time to get to know him, because I don't know where this is going. None of us know where this is going, but Jesus does. And I know he's got my back, and he'll have yours as well. So, anyway, check you next time.